Welcome back to a full episode, of Wrestling Around, which has been the first one in a long time. We're doing WCW Spring Stampede 1998. It's just me and Aaron, but as you will notice that in the original, the news show that we've done tonight, I didn't do the intro very well. So Aaron, as it was your birthday recently as well, I thought you were a man deserving of an introduction. So a friend of mine is going to do the introduction for us.
Hello, Lew. Hello, Aaron. Tony Chimmel here, the GOAT of ring announcers. Thank you, Lew, for ordering this cameo, or as we know it, a chimeo. And of course, this chimeo is for our friend Aaron. Happy birthday, Aaron. I hear that you're turning 32. Oh boy, that was many, many years ago for me. But happy 32nd birthday to you. And my little gift to you is, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the world-renowned Corvette driving, world-class wrestling journalist, and a super nice guy, Aaron Michael Franklin.
Brilliant.
Happy birthday, Aaron. Many, many more. Good luck to you in the future. Good luck with your Corvette driving. Stay healthy there. And good to hear that you're a wrestling journalist. Thank you.
Supportive of your career, as well as a great intro.
That's fantastic. Fantastic intro, yeah.
So I think what we need to say is actually last week's episode was in fact Ross's last episode of Wrestling Around. He's done now. Harry's out as well. There'll be no more short intros. If anything, I think we should just clip that out and just play it every time you enter.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's just she's taking it to a whole new level, isn't it?
Yeah. Or if he wants, Ross can do the voice as well. Not that I don't think you're a super nice guy, but I think he really just likes saying super because that part wasn't part of the script that I gave him. He went a bit off piece there. But
yeah, just ad lib.
Yeah, a bit more pizzazz. I guess that's Tony Schimmel's whole thing is he's really on his cameo page. He's basically based his whole career around the Edge introduction now. that is Tony Schimmel's career now. Is that? But I thought it was fantastic. So yeah, thanks Tony.
Yeah,
obviously be safe, Aaron, in your Corvette.
Yeah, I wonder if he drives the Corvette. Might do.
I reckon so. I reckon he'll turn up one time at meet. Or he's the announcer. One of these. But he was more supportive than Gilbert of your wrestling journalism. I thought Gilbert was a bit skeptical when we got to that.
Yeah, Gilbert don't like wrestling journalists, does he?
No, but obviously Tony Chimmel, big fan. I reckon we could get him on the show. That's going to be my next thing. I'll do it live every time. I'll pay him a $5 every time to just come on the show, just to do the announcement and leave again. But yeah, so Ross is out. He's no longer allowed to do Aaron's intro. It will from now on be Tony Chimmel, which is probably against Cameo's term of service, but there you go. So Aaron, how are you?
I'm very well, especially after that lovely intro.
Yeah, lovely. Did you have a nice birthday? It was a while ago now, but this is the first time we've recorded since your birthday.
No, 2 weeks ago, yeah.
It's been sitting on my inbox for a long time.
Got to the age now where I just wait my birthday.
Yes, yeah. Nothing happens anyway, does it? Did you get cake?
No.
Did anyone bring in?
Yeah.
Or do you have to bring in your own?
No, I didn't bring my own.
Okay, that's good. It's better than my office. Yeah.
I actually got 2 cakes. Got a cake on the day before my birthday as well.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Spoiled.
Really sorted you out. That's good. Good stuff. Glad to hear you had a good birthday. So it's the old man of Wrestling Around. The guys doing the podcast today.
Yeah.
The only two. Oh, I teased everyone with a bad this story.
You did.
So
Is it?
So obviously, as everyone knows, have a guess. See if you can know.
So obviously we've had the pigeons.
Correct.
Obviously, you've said that it's a step up from the pigeons.
It sure is.
So what I'm imagining now is, and this is why he's been absent on the show, is Terry Peters turned up in your garden in a pigeon costume.
Yeah, just laying eggs. He's just there. It's right now. He's in a flap.
But then he gets chased off by a cat.
Yeah, Terry Peters. Yeah, we could just chase him off by a big predator or something, like a big eagle to chase off Terry. That's what we need to do at some point. I don't think there'll be no context to it whatsoever. But one episode, Terry Peters does falconry. I just maybe you stag do. Maybe that's what we do instead of the current plans for his UK based one. We just take him to a castle, and we haven't got some falconry. Yeah, anyway, so I thought Terry he would shoot himself. But yeah, so obviously I had the pigeons nest. I think they're flown off now. And obviously I've been doing a lot of gardening recently, tying up the garden. Long story short, is there's a fucking duck now in the garden that's nested. So we've moved on from the pigeons.
Whereabouts is it nested?
So my front garden. It's very small. It's only about a foot deep. It's not a big one. It's nestled itself right under a tree in there. So I was tidying up that front garden. I was going to take that out. Take a few trees out there. Yeah, there's a duck that's. At first, I couldn't work out if it was nested or not. But I've done a long. Obviously, you know me. I like to do my research on the birds that are here. So yeah, it's there. It could be there for about 28 days. But did you know that a mallard, basically, gets the male mallard gets the female pregnant and then leaves. Just leaves. That's what they do. Yeah, and trigger warning for this next bit. But after that, right? So when it's a big group of ducks like this one, the male gets the female pregnant, leaves. She has to build her own nest. She has to, sit on the eggs for 28 days. And then at one point, she will then lead them to the water. Because I do live near a river, not next to one, but near enough one, so that's safe. The males, they've got the partners pregnant, so they leave them at that point, which is just, you think ducks are these cute little animals. They leave the partners, and then after that, they just go around raping. That's what a male mallard does,
right?
Yeah, it's that horny, but its partner's like, dude, I'm pregnant. I'm trying to raise these eggs, so it just goes around raping them with birds, basically. That is the story of a mallard.
Well, sounds like you're going to be the father of some ducks.
Yeah, I really want to. So apparently, when they'll literally, she'll lay them all and then just walk off, carry them, take them all to the water. I want to be there. I want to be around.
Yeah, but have to make sure that they cross the road safely.
Yeah, well, they don't have to cross the road. Luckily, it's all left hands. It's down to the river, so it's ideal. I did have to chase off a pair of ducks from in front of a van the other week, so it might be the same duck actually. But yeah, to find this information, I've accidentally signed up to the British Ornithology Society now. I'm not a fully fledged member, but because I was doing my research, and
somebody's
I thought it was
done their research.
Yes, hey, that's a niche reference that nobody will get. But no, this actually I'm not going to make it because that's been in the news recently. I'm not going to make a joke about that. But it's not that type of podcast yet. Until we get Joe Rogan on. But I've done my research on the ducks. I thought it had bird flu at one point, so I was going to report it for bird flu because it was heavy breathing.
Right.
But having done further research, I believe that's because it was laying an egg at the time.
Right. Okay.
So it was doing a lot of movement, obviously, because it had to get the egg out. One a day for 12 days.
Well, that's a lot of hard work.
That's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of duck. That's a lot of duck eggs. So yeah, that's in the front garden. It's only a foot deep. But the wonders of moving to the countryside, and I say the countryside is the suburbs. It's not exactly a remote village that I'm living in, is it? But yeah, the wonders of living out here. I never had to deal with this when I was in the flat. So yeah, the pigeons are out. The ducks are in. So an upgrade, I think.
Yeah, that's definitely an upgrade. Ducks are quite cool, aren't they?
Yeah, I can still hear the pigeons, but I've got a wooden whacking stick now. So every time I notice like the slight flutter, which has been when it's been windy, it's been confused as hell in that bush before I remove it. I've just been whacking the bush. Chasing the birds.
Imagine some sort of crazy old man just opening your door with your walking stick and just waving.
That is basically what it is. I'm just literally the house behind me will just see me every now and again appear from the door, pick up a stick that's just laid next to the door, whack a bush, and go back in. That's literally Because I took out a tree at the back as well, because I'm gonna put it with some bigger trees. But at the moment, they've just got a clear view into my garden while I'm in the midst of doing this. So they literally just get a full view of me going out, whacking a bush, and then going back in. But got to keep the pigeons away until I've got room in my brown bin to fit that tree in. That's the only reason I've delayed it at the moment.
So I'm like a year in of cutting up conifers and putting them in my green bin.
Yeah.
Down to the big trunk now.
Well, I could take him to TIFF, but I don't want to ruin my new car, so I'll be using it for nothing. So I didn't even take it to the shops today. I walked because I was like, I don't want to risk it. So I'm one of those guys, just constantly wiping the bonnet, taking the bird shit off, and not driving it anywhere. But just making sure my neighbors see me with it. But yeah, so that's Lew's avian story. So I'm at this point now, I'm expecting pigeons and ducks. So I think like birding around. Could be. We might do a special one. I thought maybe the summer special, actually. Speaking of which, I am planning a summer special one just to get Terry to appear on this podcast again because he seems to have just left us. So we're going to try and draw him back in with another AI special.
Yes.
And it's just going to be a summer special. That's the big occasion.
When's that coming?
So I don't think I'll have time for next week. So if we say like the first episode of July, let's say mid-July, because I'm assuming we'll cover Money in the Bank first week of July. So the week after that.
Yeah. Which probably won't be the week after that week. It'll probably be the week after.
Yeah.
Let's say Terry Stagg.
Fuck me. Gotta go
slash.
No, I'm fine.
Oh, I know.
No. Yeah, it'll be
the second week because that's the third week, isn't it?
Oh no, it will be that week actually because it'll be the. No. Terry Stagg do is on the 15th, so it'll be the 12th before it. Yeah.
Right with you.
Excellent. Yeah, ideal. That's when we're gonna do it. That's announced now. That's an exclusive that I didn't even know that was happening until I just said it. Aaron knows now. Ross, if Ross has internet at that point, I should mention that Ross has obviously fallen on hard times and has had to keep up the internet.
Cost of living crisis has hit him hard.
It's really hit him hard. So Ross is he's been communicating to us through letters. Actually, no, letters is fucking too expensive. I'd rather pay for internet. At this point,
me and Ross have got just two plastic cups and we're just on a piece of string.
Yeah.
All the way from Horncastle.
Remember the pigeons I've been chasing away have actually been dropping messages out from Ross at some point. He's like, "Yeah, I'm ready tonight." We'll do it tonight by a carrier pigeon. But yeah, no, Ross is internetless at the moment. Terry's, I assume, doing bits tonight, and that's why he's not here.
Yep.
It is a Wednesday. But yeah, we're here to do. I was going to say Clash at the Castle. We're not here to do Clash at the Castle because Ross still hasn't watched it. We're here to do Spring Stampede 1998, or as I like to call it, the dregs of the NWO storyline. Now I think at this point it's safe to say it's past its solo date, and we should also forewarn people. I think it's not even an exaggeration to say that we possibly watched this, at least started watching it in maybe May, definitely 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
At least it's been a while. I don't think Ross has watched it. If he has, I'm sorry, Ross. We're bringing this show without you. Terry, I'm 99% sure he read the message. He didn't dispute the fact that we're going to do this tonight. So I'm assuming that he's not watched it. So we're going to try and do Spring Stampede 1998 that we watched 2 weeks ago. So I've got a review coming up. So thank you to RetroProWrestling.com for providing a review that you wrote in 2018. And here we go. They've been very complimentary. They say this is good as it gets in North American wrestling. So
overall, it looks like Dave Meltzer quite enjoyed this.
Did you enjoy it as well? Bloody hell. Okay. Remember I thought it was okay, I would say. I think maybe it was better in ring. That's what Dave likes. Storyline wise, it's lost at this point, in my opinion. It's too far gone now.
Well, now we're just powering through. We've got like 2 years to go until the good stuff.
Yes, to the Norman Smiley era and the Ralphus era. So, yeah, it's weird at this point because I think WCW was still a lot more popular than WWE at this point, but I'd say quality-wise, it was WWE was a kind of stretch ahead. So, we're Spring Stampede, 1998 at the Denver Coliseum in Surprise, Denver, Colorado. It's a defunct venue now. so I don't have to do the menu.
Yeah, probably eating some burgers and stuff.
Yeah, it's been replaced by the Pepsi Center, so I'm assuming. I don't think Pepsi is Denver is the home of Pepsi. I think it's Carolina, but I'm assuming they're having a good Pepsi, having a good time there. I gather that Denver sports as a whole were doing pretty well at this point because that was referenced a lot. Except for the Denver Nuggets, who are terrible at this point, but they have just won the 2023 NBA. So congrats to the Denver Nuggets. They finally they were motivated by watching this pay-per-view and went to win the NBA Finals. So yeah, it's as good as it got, according to RetroProWrestling.com. So let's see what happens then. A bit of background, because obviously we missed Uncensored 98 because we did that last year, so we've not done an episode of that one. We've skipped it, but that was headlined by Macho Man versus Hulk Hogan. We're starting to see tension in the NWO now. I guess there's a lot of parallels in some ways to the Bloodline storyline, in that you've had this head figure who's been untouchable at the top, and all of a sudden his authority is being questioned now by a couple of people. Like, if you've not got the title, why are you here, basically? And then obviously Hogan's question is, fuck you guys. Like, the title's all about me. It's like, I'm the only guy in the NWO who can hold the title, basically, I think is the argument he's making. So he's unhappy that other people are going for the title. Obviously, we saw Scott Hall challenge and lose to Sting last time, and obviously, did Randy Savage beat Hogan? I don't sense in 98. That feels like research I should have done.
I can't remember.
Let me quickly check that before we move on, because I feel like that's important context to this pay-per-view. I remember it being ended in no context, of course. No contest, of course it did. So I would assume that Randy Savage was meant to win, and then it didn't work for Hogan, and that's how we ended up with a no contest in that one.
Called his creative clause.
Yes, and the Stinger beat Scott Hall for the World Heavyweight Championship. So he's defending the title now. Obviously, he won in the last WCW pay-per-view that we covered, which was Super Bowl. So right at the start of the show, they announced Mike Tenay, Tony Schiavone, and Bobby the Brain Heenan. What's your thoughts on this commentary team?
I don't mind them.
Yeah, it's good for Tenay to get out there the entire time.
Yeah,
I think there's just not as much nonsense as you got with Dusty. It was, yeah.
I do miss the big dust. Yeah,
I feel like Brain's character is really weird here because he's a heel, but also he's dead against the NWO like everyone is. So it's kind of it's hard to. Sometimes he slips into heel mode. There's like, wait a minute, no, this guy's in the NWO, he sucks. And then I feel like his character's a little bit lost at this point. But
I know some of you guys don't really like TNA, but I've always quite liked him because I used to watch all the TNA stuff back in the day. Well,
I think I much prefer him in this role than I did as a full-on commentator, as a full play-by-play. Yeah, I think he's better as an analyst, really. Just turns up with the facts.
Yeah.
It's a very sports-like role for him. And then we move on to the first one. So we have Saturn versus Goldberg. What was that going to say? Yeah, so Goldberg at this point is 73-0. Tenay says they're all squash matches, but that's ignoring, of course, Aaron, the first Mongo match. Stark in 1997, which was some would argue that Mongo nearly won it, nearly stole it. How different wrestling would have been if Mongo had won that match.
Yeah, well, if they'd have actually killed Goldberg the week before and attacked him backstage, might have had to have been Mongo taking on the undefeated streak.
Yeah, and then years to come, we would have seen Mongo beating the Fiend at Saudi Arabia. It'd have been a very different.
Then Ryback would be crying for a match against Mongo. Yeah.
Yes, which I think everyone would want to see.
Yeah.
There'd be a lot of people saying that, wouldn't they? Like, former pro footballers, we need to see Roman Reigns versus Mongo. How different the future could have been. So the story here is that Goldberg is going to challenge the US champion the next night on Nitro, which is sort of, but not Raven at this point, because Raven has the title, but he's not the champion yet. Champion's still DDP.
Right, okay.
at this point, but Ravens just stole the title basically. So Goldberg's going through a member of the flock before he gets onto the big match on Nitro, which is how WCW used to do these things back in the day.
Logical.
This wasn't really a squash, but Goldberg did win in the end.
I thought this was an all right match.
Yeah, it was. I don't say they weren't pushing Saturn through this, but they made him look a lot better than most of Goldberg's opponents because again, it wasn't a squash match, so it was.
Yeah.
He did dominate for like the first minute, maybe two, maybe even be generous 3 minutes.
Yeah, and then the flock got involved and he got a bit over on him there.
Yeah. So they started to bring in a bit of jeopardy, I think, possibly for the first time since the Mongo match that we referenced. And I'm assuming the Regal match hasn't happened yet. But
no, I don't think so.
But in the end, Hogan wins it pretty handsomely. And obviously Saturn saw this and thought, I'm gonna have to steal that guy's look. That's the only way I'm gonna be able to compete with him going forwards. But yeah, so not a lot to it. It was a bit more competitive than normal for Goldberg, but this was really setting up the Monday Night Nitro match, which I guess in this day is the Monday Night Wars, wasn't it? I think WCW especially really focused on the Monday shows rather than the pay-per-view sometimes.
Yeah.
With this. And I believe obviously Goldberg goes on to win the title the next night, and that starts his first title run.
Right, okay.
United States champion. But yes, I guess we'll get to the important star ratings.
Yeah, so I'm first time I've done both star ratings.
Of course, yeah. We normally have Terry here for
got Pro Fight DB up on my phone.
Yep.
Just wanna note something that it says on the webpage, which I think is absolute slander. It says match ratings listed above are from Dave Meltzer's highly respected Wrestling Observer newsletter.
Highly respected. Well, they could pick any rating.
Yeah.
And this is the rating they choose to pick.
Yeah.
This is outrageous.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Dave Meltzer rated this 1.5, which I think is a bit harsh. I thought it was a good match.
Yeah.
I'm happy to give that 2 stars.
2 stars, yeah. So you go fast to say that Dave Meltzer is wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. Outrageous. 2 stars, yeah, I think that was right. There wasn't a lot that happened, but I feel like anything below 2, you're saying it's a bad match, aren't you? I don't think it's a bad match. It was just an A match, really. It served its purpose, which was just
to get Goldberg
over and get rid of shitting himself a little bit by his main flock when we've been defeated easily. Basically, so yeah, that was that. And then next up, Chavo Guerrero with Eddie Guerrero versus Ultimo Dragon. I actually really enjoyed the story in this one. This is one that I do remember from it. Basically,
I wish they opened with this. What's happened to WCW? They used to open with either a tag match or a cruiserweight match.
Or just some sort of like lucha exhibition match or something along those lines. Yeah, it's a bit they've kind of gone off that, haven't they? I guess like maybe at this point people just want to see Goldberg beat up dudes. Maybe that's just as exciting to them as the lucha guys were.
Yeah, maybe.
Back in the day, I'm not sure. Because at least with these, this is a lucha match, but it's got a bit of story behind it rather than just a lot of flips in that. And the story is basically that like Chavo's kind of Eddie's bitch, basically, and Eddie's kind of, if he wins, then he's kind of going to leave him alone a little bit. But if he loses, then he's going to double down on his harshness, basically, and kind of he's like disappointed uncle. Is it the uncle and nephew? That's the relationship, right, between these two guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Eddie made this match, though.
Kind of Ultimo Dragon was just there, wasn't he? Really?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I really liked how Chavo wanted to do things the right way. So Eddie was getting absolutely livid at Chavo for not cheating, basically. But yeah, I thought it was really good. What were your thoughts on this match?
Highlight was just when Eddie kept putting the towel over his head and turning his back to the ring.
Yes, yeah, just looking absolutely ashamed of his nephew. But yeah, no, I thought it was really cool. I was just kind of, it was kind of a white meat babyface, which is rare to see Chavo in now because he's kind of been an annoying heel for like 90% of his career.
Yeah, but in this match, mean, I've never really rated Chavo, but watching this match,
Mhm.
he's very good in the ring, especially considering he's in the ring with a vet in regards to Ultimo Dragon.
Yeah, yeah,
Thought he looked very good.
yeah. No, I thought he really held his own. I thought
Mm.
it was really good. It was a good, say, it was a good luchador match, lucha style match, but it had a bit of story behind it as well, which I think
Yeah,
helps.
yeah.
And it was really good. And I think we're starting to really see Eddie Guerrero's personality now, like a lot more in the last couple of months. I think that's kind of a.
Yeah.
I know we're kind of doing this to follow the NWO storyline, but I think like seeing the emergence of the Radicals, I guess, really come through at the same time is pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
Um,
Dave Meltzer really liked this match.
that doesn't surprise me at all. What did he give?
4 stars.
4 star, bloody hell, Dave.
Yeah.
David is yeah. I'd love to get in the head of Dave Meltzer's rating.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't think it was 4 stars, but I thought that's very. I don't know. Let's go with the proper ratings. I might give my opinion if I dissent.
You know, I'm at 3.5.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
was gonna
more realistic.
go 3 really because it's slightly above average. I thought like it's
Yeah.
a good match and it's well wrestled, but 4 stars to me would be that's the sort of thing he gives like WWE main events now.
Yeah, it really
Which
is.
it it just doesn't make sense. Is it like a lot of it he says is based on the crowd reaction, which obviously the famous example is Rock and Hogan, which he doesn't believe that, but yeah, I think Dave is just away with the fairies. To be honest, like
Yeah,
he likes his style, but I don't. That can't be based off crowd reaction at all. I mean, the crowd were hot for it, but they weren't
yeah.
blown away.
I think a lot of the time Dave just gives it a star rating just so he gets beef online.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of it is that. I think he gets more. If he gave normal star ratings that everyone agreed with, no one would talk about him. It's almost a way of promoting himself, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
I definitely the amount of. I mean, Roman Reigns must have the record now for 4 3/4 matches, star matches, because he seems to get like all the time, really. But I think Dave Meltzer likes the fact he's never given a 5-star match to like the top WWE guys. I think that's kind of his thing, really. It's just kind of a bit proud. Kurt Angle never had a 5-star match, which is absurd in my opinion. But yeah, it's a good match. And after the match, obviously, so we should point out the ending really. So Dragon looked to be injured. Chavo tried to take advantage and then he lost, basically. So when he did kind of go to Eddie's ways, it cost him in the end, basically. Yeah. And now as a result, he got berated by Eddie Guerrero once again. And then we cut quickly to see DDP talk to WCW.com. Although this annoys me actually now. I'm just going to go on a slight tangent because Ross isn't here. This is something he'd do. The website of WCW was WCWWrestling.com, which, okay, that makes sense. But when you think about it, it's World Championship Wrestling.com, which is the sort of shit I used to get off Terry for Wrestling on Wrestling Federation Week always wrestling. We're getting very close with WCWWrestling.com.
Yeah, well, I suppose it's just double the amount of wrestling in it.
Yeah, that's a double the action. Maybe that's it, actually.
Yeah.
Because I guess what we should at this point, I don't know if we mentioned it in the context of this, is that Thunder's happening now at the same time. So there's 2 weekly shows. We probably should have watched the first Thunder. That would have been a good watch time, but it's too late now. It happened back in February, but that's there now. And here we go then. So next on the line is a no time limit WCW World Television Championship match between Booker T and Chris Benoit. So weird to think of it, but 2 of the young guns at this point, like 2 of the
up and comers.
The up and comers, yeah. 2 of the main guys who should be reaching our next level. They can't get past the NWO. And maybe this pay-per-view kind of encapsulates the NWO's issues that they started having at this point, really. So the context behind this is Chris Benoit and Booker T, who is the champion, have had a couple of 10-minute time limit draws on Nitro. So the whole idea of this match was no time limits. We need a winner, basically, and obviously Booker T keeps retaining the title every time. What did you think of this match? What were your highlights in this match?
I'll be honest, don't really remember it.
No, neither do I. Yeah, I know it. I'm just going to say it. Right, where Terry's not here to go enjoy it. In this one, so I'm going to say, right, I know he's dead. And I know I don't think Chris Benoit is ever that good. I think this is one of the big, like he was all right. I just don't enjoy his wrestling style. It's just not for me. It just didn't do anything for me.
I always remember having some of the WF videos on VHS.
Yeah.
And I think there was a couple of them where it was like Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, Iron Man 1 hour matches.
Yeah.
Oh my God, how fucking boring.
Yeah, they just don't do anything for me.
I'm a big Kurt Angle fan.
Yeah.
That's just, no, not for me.
Yeah, I think it's like, obviously, Chris Benoit is like was very good technically.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But I don't think he had anything else to go with it. Like,
no, it wasn't good on the mic.
Yeah.
Didn't have any charisma.
That's it. And it's hard now to kind of put Chris Benoit into a normal context because I was going to say, like, I don't like the guy because I've got off for obvious fucking reasons now. But I think even before that, when we used to watch pay-per-views back in the day at Tom's house, we used to fast forward through Benoit's matches, right? This isn't like I'm not saying anything new yet, but I don't understand like how you get invested into his character. It's just a bit like, I think he'd thrive now in like AEW or the mid card of WWE. He'd be like a guy who like, I should push this guy a bit more, but
yeah,
I don't think
really
there's anything.
Anywhere.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything to him. I'm surprised he did reach the mountaintop in WWE originally. Because for me, there's just not a lot there. I don't know what his character is. It's just like, hey, he's some angry guy. But he does a lot of suplexes. But there's just nothing in there that really hooks me into a Chris Benoit match. So yeah, glad I got that off my chest, really. But yeah, I just don't think he was that good. So I didn't remember a lot of this either, but it ended with a ref bump, basically. So Chris Benoit got Booker T in the crossface, and Booker T tapped out, but the referee had been knocked out. And then by that point, when they both recovered, Booker T hit the bookend and won the match. So Chris Benoit once again has been screwed out of the title, basically.
Right. Okay. Well,
and he got really angry, basically, which was his full gimmick at this point. So what were the star ratings for this one?
Dave Meltzer gave it 3.5.
Okay.
I don't really remember anything from this match, which when I've looked down the rest of the card, I'm like, oh, I remember that match, match. Which means it can't have stood out that much. So I'm going to go 2 stars.
Yeah, 2, down the middle, just a bit lower. That makes sense. I thought Meltzer would have given it higher just because of the participants.
Yeah.
Anything else? I felt like Benoit was a 4-star standard, so maybe that's a bad match from Benoit standards if you figure the way he grades it on a curve. But yeah, I thought it was very nondescript, and the review here from RetroProWrestling.com says basically the feud wasn't over. Is this what leads to the best of 7 series? So they definitely, I know they had one on SmackDown, but that was a repeat of one they had in WCW, wasn't it?
I think it might be.
It must be. I was sure it's for the US title both times, so it must be that. So if you did enjoy that sort of thing, you've got 7 more. That's the count. So yeah, enjoy that even more. Okay, this match I remember now. This was kind of fun. So it's the British Bulldog, who obviously has just kind of popped across recently after the Montreal Screwjob, versus Kurt Hennig with Rick Rude. And the idea here is that Rick Rude is handcuffed to Jim Neidhart to prevent him interfering in the match. And a note here, which I didn't realize, but WWE did the exact same storyline at WrestleMania 14 a month before,
right?
Where China was handcuffed to Sergeant Slaughter for very similar reasons. So again, when I say WCW was slightly losing its way, this is kind of what I mean. I think it kind of just gas creativity at this point. But we had I don't know why it says that. So it describes the policeman, like you don't really need to. But they had a policeman come out to Retro for Wrestling. I can't be enjoying review so far, but that's a fucking odd line. If you are reading it, completely unnecessary. But anyway, he comes out. They need a policeman to do the handcuffing, basically. Character of anyone doing it. Rick Rude is very hesitant to get handcuffed to Jim Neidhart, which obviously makes sense, really. But Rick Rude's still a wrestler, really. It's odd one, isn't it? Because you would think in kayfabe he could outmaneuver or outpower Jim Neidhart, maybe.
Yeah, you'd think so. Rick Rude's still in good shape, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Although I think he's technically retired at this point. He had an injury, didn't he? So he's doing his non-wrestling stuff. But he's recently jumped across as well. So he was the guy who was at this time on Raw and Nitro the same night because Raw was
Yeah.
taped and he was working out a contract, so he appeared on both shows at once. And obviously, best of wishes to his son Bob, who's a former presenter here. It will still be. Ross slept with him the other night. Bob Roode. Although he turned him
Really?
around. Yeah, turned him around in the middle of the night because he woke up and shit himself. The Bob Roode was staring down at him. So I went in that room the next day to tidy up, and Bob Roode was facing the wall. So don't know what happened there. Fuck me, I do remember this match. I'm just going through it now.
Yeah.
So the policeman did it. Oh, okay, that's why they've explained who the policeman was in that term. Okay, that makes more sense now. I do remember it, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was all happening. And then the policeman, it turns out, was fuck money himself, Vincent.
Yeah, Officer
At
Vincent.
this point, Officer Vincent, fuck me. Yeah. And that was it. And then I don't really know what happened. And then yeah,
Rick Rude managed to
Kevin.
get out of his cuffs, and he cuffs Neidhart to the ring.
Yes, I do remember it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then interferes.
Yeah.
Screws
Old Davy boy.
Mm-hmm.
And then somehow Koenig wins and is a 3-on-2 beatdown.
Yeah.
At the end. Yeah, so the bit I was a bit confused earlier was it said to make sure this went down properly, we had an African American policeman come out and oversee the handcuffing. And I was like, why did they mention that? That's just fucking racist, dude. And then later down though, it's explaining it's because it's Vincent, and basically so I owe RetroProWrestling.com an apology because they're basically saying it's kind of fucking racist booking by WCW because they've kind of put it's obviously Vincent, and they just said, "Oh, it's just a random black guy." It turns out to be Vincent. I think that's the way they were going. They were going with it. So yeah, fair enough. RetroProWrestling.com, you're good with me again. But Aaron, what did you think of? Or what did old Dave think of this match first? And what do you think?
Dave didn't like it. Dave gave it a dud.
A dud. Bloody hell! How long did this match go for?
4 minutes 48.
Was that all it was? I would have thought it would have been about 10 minutes, but I guess there was a lot of preamble, wasn't it?
Yeah, plus Kurt Hennig can't really put on very long matches, can he?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm surprised. But I just want to cover very, very briefly, because I know what I'm getting on for time. But the Hart Foundation, they're all in WCW now.
Yeah.
They've done sweet FA with any of them. I mean, they can leave Brett off TV for me. Absolutely fine. But I'd like to see where this storyline goes because Davey Boy Smith's just been buried.
Yeah.
How long's Jim Neidhart been in?
I think from what I remember,
did he come across with Davey Boy?
They walked out after the Montreal Screwjob and they were just Vince cancelled the contracts.
Right, with you.
So they can't have been in long now.
But I know for a fact WCW don't do anything with the Art Foundation.
Yeah.
Why would you not capitalize on any of it?
No, I don't understand it. Like, why would you? They've kind of, instead of the NWO fighting themselves, surely you could have done NWO versus the Hart Foundation.
Yeah, because WCW have failed essentially in taking down the NWO.
Yeah.
You've got a storyline there where the Hart Foundation could have a go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where they go and how they go because Dave Boy Smith can't be in WCW for long.
No, I think he goes for exactly a year. It's one of those deals, and then he's back in WWE.
Yeah.
Right. And then I think this is like Neidhart's last big run. I think he's finished after this.
And he gets taken over by Tank Abbott.
Yeah, basically we've got another squat go-to guy now.
Yeah. I'd give that match 1.5. It's all right. It served a purpose, I suppose, in getting heat on Kurt Hennig and the NWO. Like I say, interested to see where it goes from here, which will probably be nowhere because it's WCW. But
yeah, so I'm just looking at Jim Neidhart's Wikipedia now. So he made his again, like just to your point, like you had the Hart Foundation move across, do something with them, but he did not basically. So he just turned up on WCW Saturday Night, which is the third show at this point, or it's like turned up on like bloody Rampage now, or
Yeah.
on main event. Defeated Wayne Bloom,
Yeah.
who I believe is
Is he a trainer?
I think he's the dad of what's his name, Von Wagner.
Okay.
That might not be true. It's it's not.
I'm
What's
thinking
the
of Matt
guy's name?
Bloom.
Matt Bloom. Yeah, he's one of he's one of the Beverly brothers.
Right. Okay.
Um, yeah, yeah. I think he's You know, I'm going to have to research this now. This is
It's
something. But
strange,
yes,
isn't
he's
it?
Von Wagner's dad, Wayne Bloom.
Because you're saying like, oh yeah, Beverly Brothers, and I wouldn't have thought they were still in WCW at this point because you see the same people on every single pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's it. You don't see anything, but like again, like you've just had anyone jump. You know, AEW. Like I know they run out of steam with people, but they make it feel like a big deal if anyone jumps across from WWE.
Yeah.
Whereas, like even WCW, just to get onto it, and the Hart Foundation, Bret Hart came across after his last match was essentially he was a WWF champion. He main evented like what's Survivor Series, the fourth biggest pay per view. Main evented a huge show. Came across basically as the uncrowned WWF champion because it was obvious he got screwed at the title.
Yeah.
And he's the special referee in fucking Eric Bischoff versus Larry Zbyszko.
And I'd imagine
the
it's
other two
probably,
just turn up on WCW Saturday Night Live.
and I can guarantee it was probably because of some sort of no compete clause. Just wait.
Yeah.
Why do we have to rush into everything?
Yeah, it didn't. I mean, it would still be impactful, wouldn't it? Even if they
Still gonna be
just
shocking.
interfered in that main event somehow, really. But yeah, so yeah, basically Neidhart and Davey Boy Smith formed a tag team where they wrestled primarily on Saturday night and Thunder, facing the Public Enemy Destruction Crew, which is now the Killer Bees. High Voltage, NWO Japan. Oh, they had a match against Sting and Lex Luger, so that's something. Brian Adams and Kurt Hennig. They had one more pay-per-view match at Fall Brawl, where they defeated the Dancing Fools. And then Neidhart was finished by September 1998.
Mm-hmm.
And that was his last kind of big run. He ended up in Memphis Championship Wrestling after that.
Right.
Oh, well, he was Jake Roberts' opponent at the famous Heroes of Wrestling show.
Yes.
Where Jake Roberts was an absolute state. That was like his first match out, and then I ended up in Memphis Championship Wrestling, and then kind of quietly retired. And the Bulldog wasn't much better. I'm very sure we need to go through this a lot quicker than we are doing. But yeah, the Bulldog was back in WWE. He did have a main event run in WWE in '99, didn't he? But yeah, he didn't spend long. But yeah, bit of a waste. But again, I think they just ran out of ideas at this point. We're on to the next match. Speaking of someone they kind of dropped the ball with, Chris Jericho going next against Prince Iaukea.
Yeah.
Who we've not seen since 1997 on pay-per-view. I kind of
Been
forgot
that
about
long?
him, to be honest. Yeah, World War III 1997, where he was in the Battle Royal. So yeah, we've got Chris Jericho versus Prince Iaukea. Now this is all about Jericho, isn't it? Really, it's all about getting Jericho over.
I'm gutted that we've missed the 1004 holds.
Yes, yeah, he's in his feud with again, this is weird, isn't it? This is the weird thing about WCW pay-per-views is that the main feuds happen on TV.
Yeah.
And it's kind of filler matches on the pay-per-views, which is really strange. But yeah, this is all about Jericho. Basically, it's just about getting Jericho over. There's a promo on the way in. It's just kind of a fun heel at this point, really. Slags off Dean Malenko the entire time, and then he wins it with the lion tamer and a clean. Ike has a few near falls, but Chris Jericho wins cleanly, which I think was the right decision. But what were your thoughts on this match?
I enjoyed this match. I'm a big Chris Jericho fan, though. I think it's just fantastic, and I just don't see how WCW didn't see that he was a main eventer.
Yeah, again, he's another one. A year later, almost like a year and 2 months or so, he was coming out and having a promo with The Rock.
Yeah, and they made a big deal of him.
Yeah,
WWE. Why did this is just it's total opposite to how WCW were treating their talent.
Yeah, it's like what you're saying. Like WWF took a mid-carder from WCW and presented him like a main eventer, which you could argue they just done with Cody Rhodes as well.
Yeah,
but on the opposite side, WCW took a main event faction and made them just complete jobs.
Lower mid card.
Bret Hart's done nothing so far. He's like a lackey at this point, I think. Has he
Mhm.
joined the NWO yet? Or is that still to come?
No, not yet. Don't think so. Anyway,
he's done nothing. But yeah,
Well,
what
anyway-
were the important star ratings?
well, it went 9 minutes 55. Dave loved it. 3 and a
Yeah.
quarter.
I thought this had a 4-star Dave rating all over it.
Yeah.
But what were the official ratings?
I've got it a 3.5 just because Chris Jericho was great.
Yeah, I think it was just all about getting Jericho over, wasn't it? And just making it more entertaining.
Yeah.
Basically, entertain the crowd. So, yeah, I would agree with that. It's pretty good. Up next, then, this is why Ross really isn't here because he's just devastated this match is having to take place. We've got Buff Bagwell and Scott Steiner versus Lex Luger and Rick Steiner. And yes, obviously, in the last pay per view that we watched, which is actually 2 pay-per-views ago now.
Yes.
There was the Big 10. Obviously, the Steiners split up. Scott joined the NWO. He's still not fully Big Papa Pump at this point. I think they used a nickname, if I remember correctly, but he's not got the full gimmick yet. Has he?
Yeah, his daddy's there now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's starting to look more like how you would imagine Scott Steiner to look. Basically. But obviously, Buff Bagwell tries to get out of the match by pretending his hand's broken.
Yeah.
Basically, JJ Dillon brings in the doctor. Bagwell gets angry, grabs JJ Dillon, and JJ Dillon's like, "Hang on a minute, you just use your good hand to grab me, so you must be fine." So the match starts. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't like this match at all. I
wasn't a fan.
Yeah, I don't understand why you've got a potential monster heel in Scott Steiner, and the whole thing leading up to his turn was that he was unhinged, and they've just made him a bitch. Basically, it's just you've got 2 absolutely jacked up dudes, and they're running scared of. But really, sometimes it would make sense for a heel turn if this was like a cowardly heel anyway. But I just think for a dude and the way the turn happened and stuff, I don't think this is kind of in keeping with that character at all, really. It's not really in keeping with the NWO, so yeah, I wasn't a huge fan. And then also at the end of it, Luger and Steiner won because both got trapped in the torture rack. So you've built this up as the big Steiner showdown, and neither of them are involved in the finish. Like, surely a singles match here would have been.
I'm guessing did they maybe lead to that? Probably not. Probably on
I was
a
going to say
Nitro.
logically you would say yes, but I think on with WCW you just don't know, do you? Really, it's really hard to tell. But what were your thoughts on this one?
Didn't enjoy it at all. I had Lex Luger in for a start, so didn't bode well, does it?
Yeah, just wasn't good wrestling, was it really?
6 minutes. 6 minutes of nothing for me.
Mm-hmm.
Dave gave it 1.25. I think that's even too high. And I hate to say, because it's got the Steiners in it.
Yeah.
I'm dud all day long, I think.
Yeah.
Just because it, like you say, that it's a throwaway match. It served no purpose in developing that storyline.
Mm-hmm. No, it just did everything completely wrong, didn't it? It just made the whole. So it kind of they have a no contest at Fall Brawl, and that's the only singles match they have.
Oh, okay.
And then at that point, Rick Steiner starts teaming up with Bagwell, but then Bagwell turns on him immediately. And then they do have another singles match at Halloween Havoc. So a while to go, but I think the steam's fallen out of it now.
Yeah,
So
should have pulled the trigger.
Yeah, you could have. The thing is, I think if you split in a tag team up, the ideal scenario is you get one big babyface and one big heel. And I know obviously Scott Steiner raced to the top of the card later on when it was kind of too late for WCW, but I don't think you got either out of this one really.
Agree.
So it was good. Then Mean Gene pops out and says, "Ring the hotline because someone's returning to WCW." I don't actually know who that is. It's not there yet. And then we've got La Parka versus Psychosis. So this is the sort of like generic lucha match that we were kind of.
I love La Parka.
Yeah, it's just what a character. What an odd character. La Parka is the chairman. Yeah, it's kind of his dances, isn't it? The crowd weren't really alive for this one. I do remember Psychosis beats Lapaka, basically. Not a lot going on in that one. What were your thoughts on this one? I'm assuming this is like a 6-star match from Dave Meltzer, but what were your
No, it's actually not.
thoughts on this one? Is it not?
No, I thought it was all right. I'm not a big fan of Psychosis because he's a bit of a bigger guy, isn't he? Yeah, it was all right. It wasn't up to standard with the normal lucha matches, shall we say?
Yeah.
Maybe that's because they only gave him 6 minutes. They gave Ultimo and Chavo 12.
Yeah.
Could just be due to time and they tried to squish it in a little bit. But yeah, I don't remember a great deal about the match, to be honest.
Yeah, no, in the review I'm reading, there's nothing. They're just like, yeah, moving on. Psychosis won with a guillotine leg drop.
Yeah. Dave gave it 2.5.
Okay.
I'm probably just going to go middle of the road again, say 2 stars.
Yeah.
I just can't really remember much about it.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I don't think it was kind of memorable. I think if you're going to have like a generic lucha match with nothing on, make it a 4-on-4. And just do spot after spot after spot rather than just kind of 2 guys. Because I don't really think anyone got over. Or what? It was more like it's an intermission, was it? Than anything else.
So they gave it 6-7 minutes. The next match got 13.5.
Fucking hell. Okay, here we go then. Important context to this match is that Vince Russo had not joined the company yet. And I say that because it is a baseball bat and a pole match between Kevin Nash and Hollywood Hulk Hogan versus Roddy Piper and the Giant. The Giant, again, is another upcoming star who's going to be gone in a year's time, or less than a year's time. I think he's.
Well, then also doesn't get used in WF. So this to the level he should have been used.
No, he lost within a month, didn't he? I think. Of his debut, which is ridiculous. But yeah, so Kevin Nash and Hogan are getting some issues, obviously, because we're building up to the NWO split and the Wolfpack and the Hollywood, but they got to put the differences aside because they're going up against Roddy Piper and the Giant in a tag team baseball bat and a pole match, which is kind of fun. Isn't it? Classic. This one, is it at all?
No.
Let's see what happens here. So Piper gets the bat first, but Hogan throws it away. And then the Disciple, which is obviously Brutus the fucking Bar of Beefcake, just comes out of her bat. So that's how you... The whole point of the poll was, why don't you just bring that from the start? They've had an advantage right from the beginning. I always thought the rule was, or it should be, the first person to grab the weapon is the one who can use it. And it's a DQ for the other person, but I don't think it works like that, is it? So
no, it doesn't. It's basically just whoever hits whoever with it first. It's not whoever grabs it first.
It's just there, isn't it? Really. So that happened. Nash holds Piper in place for Hogan, but Hot Rod moves and Big Sexy ball the full brunt of the bat to the ribs. Well, as much as a Hogan weapon shot can hurt you, because he's timid. He's timid with his weapon shots. I feel like because he grew up in the 80s, you never really learn how to use a weapon properly or do any of the hardcore style. I think when Hogan hits you, it's just very tap on the ribs.
But at least he can sleep well at night knowing that he's not caused any concussions.
That is true, actually. Yeah, he's definitely not done that or any sort of physical damage.
Yeah.
Whatsoever. But yeah, obviously this is the classic kind of misunderstanding between two partners who weren't going along anyway. Sick. I love this. I'm just reading a review, but it makes so much sense. So basically, that all happened, the big spot where you feel like they've cost the match because obviously one of them just hit the other one. But no, Hogan just goes and beats up Piper and wins anyway. So that was Hogan's getting his win back, brother.
Classic NWO.
I do remember this being like okay, actually. I don't think it was terrible. And then obviously the big thing at the end is that Hogan does turn on Kevin Nash. At the end, they're arguing a bit. Nash goes to powerbomb the Giant for some unbeknownst reason. Obviously, didn't quite kill him off last time. And Hogan hits him on the back with the aforementioned bat. So we're getting the split. The split's happening now. Obviously, again, Hogan just wants the NWO. Basically, I think the primary purpose for him is just for him to hold the title. But what were your thoughts on this match?
Oh, Dave Meltzer loved it.
Oh, really?
No, 1.5.
Yeah, I was gonna say that makes sense. I was like, oh.
Um,
Be careful. 1.5 is actually pretty good though. If you look at the Hogan curve,
yeah,
WCW in WCW for Meltzer.
for me, wasn't against the match. Quite enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
It added to a storyline, which that's a
Yeah.
big tick for WCW.
Mm-hmm.
Heading in the right direction, but surely at this point you just kill off. Why? Who sat there and thought, oh, it's going to be a great idea if we just make 10 different factions of WCW?
Yeah.
Who
I don't
sat
know.
there and made that decision?
It was all happening. I think at this point, because at this point, Thunder had already started. Because the excuse for expanding the NWO so much was that we're going to have a separate roster for Thunder, but they've
Yeah.
not done that because they decided to base it around Bret Hart instead.
Now, I always say it's great when you look back and you can kind of analyze stuff and say, oh, they should have done this.
Mm-hmm.
You can always do that in hindsight, but you compare the NWO storyline as it is now to the Bloodline storyline as it is present day. You could have had the NWO of Kevin Nash, etc., versus Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
And then just killed it off. You didn't have to make NWO Wolfpack. You could have just have had the ex NWO members, surely, and just done it that way.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It just got. I
They
mean, it gets even more complicated.
They overcomplicate it big time.
Yeah, I think for me, it's when Sting joins the Wolfpack.
Yeah.
Like it's weird now. The face paint looked pretty cool, which I guess is a lot of it's probably to do with merchandise. They can sell the exact same T-shirt but in red, and get that money again, basically, which is probably a lot of it. But
you think even if they'd have killed off the storyline, I'd imagine it's gonna be exactly the same if the Bloodline ever comes to an end. They're still gonna sell merchandise.
Yeah, I mean,
look at NWO.
Still
it now.
Best seller now, isn't it? Although they need to remove that WWE logo.
Yeah, it looks awful.
It looks terrible. Yeah, I did like the funny parody one that someone had made though, where the W in the NWO was just the WWE logo that everyone was getting wound up about. But I think it's fair. I thought that was quite funny.
Yeah. For me, it's a 2.5-star match because it added to a storyline. Not that I agree where the storyline goes after this, but it's all right.
Yeah, no, it had its purposes, didn't it? But yeah, it was okay, and it's fair for again if you're grading it on the curve of WCW main events, well, Hogan matches, it wasn't bad actually. And nice to see Hogan not in the main event. But yeah, we had a bit of storyline progression on the show, which is good. So up next, and we've got the kind of billing as like a semi-main event. So obviously this is Raven's Rules, the United States Championship. DDP, who is the champion, versus Raven, who's currently holding the belt. So obviously he'd been carrying the belt around with him, and you'd think he was champion because even Goldberg was already challenging him the next night. So that's kind of happening. But yeah, it's all very confusing stuff and very WCW. But yeah, they had a match. Horace Boulder assists Raven after disguising as a member of the ring. Well, I think he just was a member of the ring crew. I don't know if anyone was. So Horace Boulder is Horace Hogan, right? So
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And so he was a member of the flock, but I don't think that was like a big reveal or anything because no one really cares about Horace Boulder. I'm assuming he was just a random member of the flock who was disguised as a ring crew. He attacks DDP, and Raven wins it. But yeah, I've not covered that in a lot of detail, but I actually thought this was a pretty good match. So
I think this is potential match of the night.
Yeah.
What was running, and we say this on every WCW show, what was Bischoff and company thinking about holding off on DDP?
Yeah, well, this is it now, because it's
it
like
so over.
Yeah, and they've got no excuse now, because before, okay, yeah, they were waiting to do this Sting match, and, you know, they were in that holding pattern, really. But we're going to get to the main event where Randy Savage at, 46, 47 at that point, is winning the title. It's just, they need to get DDP in at this point. And again, this is where I'm kind of falling out of the storyline of the NWO, because it's just stopping all these young guys. Like, how many people? In some ways, I'm surprised that DDP was still there in a year's time, based on the track record of what we've been saying throughout this pay-per-view.
Yeah.
All the younger guys are going across. But yeah, we've got it's this event a year later that DDP finally wins the WCW World Championship. But by that point, it feels too late. Really,
Too late. Should have been
this
now.
summer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. And yeah, dropping the mid card title, you would logically think that's where he's going next. He's have to challenge for the main belt, but it's a year. We've got to wait a year for it.
Yeah. But no, I enjoyed this match. I always enjoy a DDP match, unless it's WF. Not so much. But
yeah, Stalker DDP, which was 22 years ago this week. Stalker DDP was revealed for you wrestling historians out there.
Even at 11 years old, I knew it was too much.
Yeah, it was just to kill his career completely. But as DDP always says, like, you know, if you're he sees himself, he's got a Hall of Fame career in WCW, and if you kind of remember the baseball Hall of Fame, even if you played for multiple teams, you have one team attached to you, like the Yankees or whatever. So that's the way he sees it. He's there as a WCW guy, and his WWF career doesn't matter, basically.
Yeah.
Which is a good way a positively page way of looking at it.
It is definitely
DDP. But so what did Dave give this match?
Dave gave it 4 stars, so he really enjoyed this. It's on par with the Chavo Dragon match.
Okay, yeah, I think I would agree with that. I think for me it was the match tonight as well. It was just it was chaotic, but in a good way. Yeah,
it's very rare that I agree with Dave, but I think he's got that one right. Once the first time in the history of the Dave Meltzer star rating so far.
Bloody hell! Have we just witnessed history?
Yeah, quite possibly.
Bloody hell! Wow, I can't believe I was here to see it. We're gonna have to get Tony Schimmel out to announce it.
Yeah, definitely
as well. Or we should just tweet Dave Meltzer, like, by the way, that semi-main event, Spring Stampede 1998, you fucking nailed it, mate. In fact, do you know what? I'm going to tweet him right now and say that.
Yeah, just for me, Raven wins the match. You'd be taking the title off DDP, putting him into the main event, especially going by the result in the main event. You could realistically do that, but you just know that they're going to go with the NWO again.
Yeah,
because Hogan wants his title back.
It's just kind of boring at this point, isn't it? Really, the main event is so depressing. Really, in some ways, I wish this was the main event, even though Raven won. And Raven gets a 24-hour title run, but I don't mind that because it's Goldberg who beats him, who's an up and comer. So it's they kind of sacrificing one up and comer to win everyone, but there's more money in Goldberg, isn't there? Let me just finish my tweet to Dave Meltzer. So, hi, Dave Meltzer.
I don't think Raven's around much longer though, is he?
No, he turns up in I think it's 2000 he appears. But he might go back to ECW for a bit first, actually, before he gets to WWF. Yeah. I think you nailed the semi-man.
Brilliant. It's great listening.
Yeah, he'll be like, yeah, I sure did. I wonder if he'll quote tweet me and I'll just get a lot of fucking morons. Tweet me for days like I normally do if Dave Meltzer does that.
So go on to the main event.
Yeah.
So we got Randy Savage versus Sting, who's the champion, enters the match champion. It's a no DQ match for the world title. Nothing to write home about in this match.
No, just depressing more than anything else.
I mean, I always, as a kid, grew up loving Sting, but then I watch his matches and I'm like, why?
Yeah. I think this era of Sting though wasn't great though, was it really?
No, I think we've probably got probably another year before you kind of get the good stuff from him. Yeah. Like I always remember the Millionaires Club stuff with Sting, which is good stuff.
Yes, yeah, right at the end.
And then his TNA stuff's brilliant.
His TNA run was really good actually, wasn't it? In some ways it's a shame not as many people saw it. Yeah. And we just kind of got that weird WWE run instead. But
yeah, like I was just going through Facebook the other day on like the videos, and Joker Sting came up.
Yeah.
Just great stuff, great TV.
It's fair. He's doing good stuff in AW now, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's 64.
Bloody hell. That is 18 years older than Bobby Lashley and he's still going, which is just impressive. Really impressive.
Yeah.
In my opinion. But yeah, I think this era's thing, like he wasn't all there physically, was he? I think from his own admission.
Or mentally, yeah. I think
Yeah.
he'd kind of checked out, hadn't he?
He was going through a bad time, wasn't he, really?
Yeah.
But yeah, this match was not great, was it? Basically.
No.
So we've kind of alluded to all the way through. Macho Man Randy Savage wins the WCW World Championship from Sting. There's a lot kicking off. Kevin Nash helps basically. Ref bump. I don't know why there was a ref bump because it was no DQ anyway, so it didn't really matter. They could have just done it out, but
yeah,
definitely it was a false finish. But yeah, that's fine. So basically the main point: Savage is going to win it cleanly because he's going to go for the big elbow, which is again fucking stupid because Sting should be first champion. But whatever. Hogan pushes him off because Hogan wants the title to only be his if it's in the NWO. But then Nash comes out, jackknife Sting. And again, just as I mentioned, Sting joins the Wolfpack in a couple of months, but whatever. The referee's unconscious while this is happening. And then Kevin Nash drags an unconscious Savage on top of Sting to win the match. Basically, so Randy Savage is new champion and Sting's title reigns over after 2 months, which is disappointing given how it started as well. He's had one successful defense on paper.
So I would hazard a guess. Next pay-per-view, it's Randy Savage versus Hogan.
Do you know what? Let's have a look. But I believe you might be right with that.
But if that's the case, who's your heel? Because you've just given Randy Savage a heel finish.
We just had the match uncensored between them two, and no one cared because again, it was a heel versus heel. So Slamboree is the main one. No, it's not. The main event of the next pay-per-view is Sting and the Giant versus the Outsiders.
Okay.
The tag team championships. And Randy Savage. What the fuck? Randy Savage. I don't know if it's a non-title match or he's not champion by this point, but he's versing Bret Hart. And the championship's not on the line.
Okay. Well, because eventually the Wolfpack become the faces, don't they?
Yes, because Sting joins them, obviously. And
you could have done the finish of this match to replicate that. You didn't have to get Kevin Nash involved. You could have left Hogan getting involved and Randy Savage fighting him off, and then getting the win that way, turning babyface.
Yeah, it's just too based around egos and Hogan now, isn't it? Really, I think when you kind of. I sometimes think people have been a bit dramatic when I called it was too many politics and WCW killed it, but I can kind of see why now because nobody wants to lose.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to look like an idiot. Every pay-per-view is going to finish this way now, going forwards. And it's not even just one match. It's not even like it's just the main event anymore now. It's seeping its way down the card. This is 3 or 4 matches on this one kind of had screwy finishes because you could tell people didn't want to lose or the wrong person lost really. So yeah, it's on its way down. But yeah, I agree. It did absolutely nothing for Sting. Given that Sting's return was built for 18 months, he just looks like a geek.
Yes.
Since he come back really, and he's not going to do it. He's going to have the title a few more times, but it barely matters at this time. I mean, it's vacated every time. I'm just looking at the title history now. Okay. So, Hollywood Hogan defeats Randy Savage for the World Heavyweight Championship on April 20th, 1999 on Nitro. Do you know what date Spring Stampede was?
The day before.
April 19th. Yeah. So this was all for a one-day reign, and then Hogan just gets it back. And Hogan holds it until July.
Just ridiculous.
Yeah. It's very Reign of Terror-like now, isn't it?
Yeah.
With this one. Yeah. So again, I just feel like Sting's been completely no wonder he wasn't motivated. He's been completely fucked over, hasn't he? Really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know obviously he didn't have his tan or whatever, and he wasn't in the best shape, but 18 months build up, and he holds the title for 2 months after he finally gets it. After the first kind of feud went wrong, the first match went wrong. Gets the title, loses it. The guy who loses it too holds it for a day, and it goes back to the guy who had the title anyway. So yeah, I can see why. In fact, we're not far away. So when Hogan loses it, it's to Goldberg. In 1998, the famous Nitro, but I believe that is the last time that Nitro won in the reigns. And then after that, it's all WWE from that point.
Okay, it's gonna so we're getting to the interesting part.
Yes, we'll have to watch that Nitro
hmm
at some point as well. We're not even at the finger poke of doom yet. That's another 8 months away at this point. That's when things really go downhill. But yeah. So what's the star ratings for this? Have we done the star ratings for this match?
Oh,
Do
sorry.
again.
2.25 from Dave.
Okay, that's high for Dave.
Yeah, I was more like 1 star. Just didn't
Yeah.
enjoy it.
Yeah, no, I would agree. And it kind of ends on a sour note. I think even more so when we reveal that this reign lasted one day,
Yes.
and then and then Hogan wins anyway. So
Well, that's just terrible booking though, because you've got your two higher tier champions who are new champions and both lose them in 24 hours.
yeah,
That's poor
yeah,
booking.
yeah, it is. I guess it kind of again at this point. I think they're just popping ratings on Nitro.
Yeah.
They've got no plan. I think they're panicking now. It's the back and forth is happening, isn't it?
hmm
Well, they won't be early of it. What would you? We should probably wrap up because it's 11 o'clock. I've just realised. What would you
Yeah.
give this rating overall? This pay per view?
5.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I didn't really. It wasn't very memorable, and I think the
No.
bits that I did remember were for completely the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Basically, it was.
It was realistically, there was 2 good matches, which was the
Yeah.
Chavo Dragon match and the DDP Raven match. They had 2
Yeah.
good matches. The rest of it, Chris Jericho's match was memorable, but not because of the match, because of Chris Jericho.
Yeah, it was just kind
The
of fun, wasn't it?
The
Really?
rest of the pay-per-view was kind of just throwaway.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'd agree. I think 5 stars is good, but I'm sure at some point we'll be back with Slamboree.
hmm
Or maybe we should do that night show the night after because there's 2 title changes. Maybe we'll do that next and just add to the misery of WCW. In fact, you know what? I'm going to say it right now. Join us. We'll do a watch along of that Nitro.
Yes,
Next episode.
there we go.
That'd be good for those guys. They can do that. They're not missing out on WCW. I'd hate for them. Those guys missed out on Battle Royale at the Albert Hall. I still feel terrible. We don't want them to miss out on any more fun wrestling.
We'll do it again.
Yeah.
I don't know. We won't turn up to that show. They can do
Yes,
that show on their
that's
own.
it. We'll set up as a watch along and just make them sit there for 3 hours to watch that 20-minute Nasty Boys match. Just on repeat. We'll just do that the entire time. That's what we should do. But anyway, we'll end it there, Aaron, because we're finishing there. It's a bit of a shorter episode than normal because we kind of forgot the pay-per-view and not a lot happened anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll join us next week and we'll cover the Nitro after Spring Stampede, where there's 2 title changes basically. We spoiled the whole thing for you, but that's what we're going to cover next week. Aaron, where can we find you on the social medias?
Twitter, Frankenstein91.
Yeah, and we are due a retweet from Dave Meltzer.
Yes.
Point, or at least just a like now. Same way you can find me at Lou Markham. You can find us all at Rest Around on all the social medias. Listen to us anywhere. We shot up the we didn't have a show last week. Don't know what you guys were listening to, but we shot up 50 places to 139 in the UK wrestling podcast charts, which is the highest for a long time. So thank you for that. Thank you for listening. Normal service should resume from this point, 2 episodes a week. Going to get back into it, and we've got a summer special coming up, and we've got Nitro day after Spring Stampede next week. But yeah, so thank you, Aaron.
Thank you.
And thank you all, and we'll see you next week for more Wrestling Around.